Hey everybody, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and we're in a studio today shooting another video for you. Today's topic, how to handle the commission objection. When a seller asks you how much you charge, are you willing to cut your commission? Or, another agent said they would do it for less. How do you respond? Most coaches and agents will tell you to say, no, I'm not willing to cut my commission. Yet they're not in your position to know the exact circumstance, the context, or whether you win or lose that listing. They're not there to see it. So that might not be the answer you're looking for. You'll also hear other agents suggesting to say your rate, period. Something like, hey Wilson, how much do you charge? I charge 6%. Yet they're not there to see whether another objection or a follow-up question happens afterwards. What do you say then? And that's what we're going to talk about today. The commission objection also matters when you get asked. Now let's assume it's the first call, the first conversation you're having with the seller, and they ask you, hey Wilson, I'm interested in selling my home. By the way, how much do you charge? Now it's a trap at the beginning to answer that question without being able to share exactly what you do that's valuable for them to sell for a higher price. Now, if you had a headache, and I've used this before, if you have a headache and you're talking to a doctor online and they were talking about fees and cost structure, you're not gonna care. You just want your problem to be solved. So just like that real estate conversation, if a seller calls you and asks you, hey, Wilson, how much do you charge? You're going to, and then I'm going to give you a script. Let's assume our seller's name is Sally. Sally the seller. Sally the seller asks you over the phone, hey Wilson, how much do you charge? Sally, that's a great question. I'm so happy to hear that you care about your bottom line, because commission is one line item on everything that's going to happen. And I'm sure the question you're asking, Sally, is how much are you going to net from the sale? And that's going to be based on how much you're going to be able to sell your property for. Now, I'm so excited to meet with you so I can see exactly your home, to give you some ideas, to share with you exactly what's happening in the market so you know exactly what we can do to sell for a higher price. And of course, the line item of commission is going to be there. We're going to talk about that at a later time. Because you asked that, can you tell me a little bit more about where you're moving? Can you tell me a little bit more about why it's important for you to net the most money possible? Sometimes as agents, we assume that, of course, selling for a high price is the most important, yet we forget to ask other parts of this process that are important, such as, does Sally need another agent in Boca Raton that they're moving to, in New York that they're moving to? Is another person a part of the process? Do they have an elderly person that's moving, and that's more important than just getting the highest price? Without asking the appropriate questions, you're never gonna know. And you're gonna be trapped if you start answering commission questions right from the call. And that's why you want to defer when you actually meet in person. We're also going to get to the point where we're gonna handle the commission objection at the end of the presentation, which is the appropriate place to handle it, because you've had now the opportunity to express your value and to express exactly what makes you different in the marketplace. Another point I wanted to make is the mistake of talking about commission and confirming it before you have the opportunity to talk about value. In this video, I'm gonna share with you 7 points of value that you can document and you can prepare so you can express it and justify your rate. And before we talk about value, I'm gonna share with you a topic of discussion that I want you to keep in mind. And it's called the tolerance of conversations for a seller. Now, tolerance, like anything, is how much can you handle. A seller sometimes is only gonna talk to you as a listing agent, and oftentimes in a competitive market like ours, is gonna talk to 3 or 4 or 5 potential listing agents in the area. And of course, the more tolerant they are, the more they've heard, and the more likely they're going to ask you some tougher questions, including the ones about commission. Now let's talk about the value points. Value point number 1, what is your track record in terms of being able to help a seller sell for a higher price? If you could share with them or your brokerages or your team's track record of all the people you've helped in the last calendar year or your career in real estate, that's probably going to help your case to build upon you having relevant information to be able to justify your commission. Track record could also come across as stories you can tell about succeeding for clients in the past. The second value point you can share with the seller is your intimate knowledge about the market. You've heard from many brokers and also sales managers and team leaders that you have to go tour property. Well, depending on the timing, can you tour or not? That's another question, but you should definitely be researching everything you can about your marketplace, your neighborhood, your micro neighborhood on the MLS. You should be asking questions to listing agents about what makes their property priced at this price at that value. What have they done to bring that value up to that property? What did they do to prepare the home for sale to justify what they're asking for? As you have these conversations with other professionals, you'll become very knowledgeable in your marketplace that you choose to service and also that you potentially are taking that listing in. Value point number 3 is what we call relevant experience. It's tied to your track record. And relevant experience looks like this. You can have 2 agents, one agent that does 24 listings in a year and another agent that does 4 to 5 listings in a year. Let's say you're looking to remove your appendix or you're looking to remove your tonsils. You likely want to work with someone that has done that day in and day out hundreds of times every single year. Versus, what if you heard of this cheaper doctor that's willing to do it, but he's located in Mexico? He's 1/10 of the price of the one that's done it hundreds of times in a year. However, because he's so cheap, you feel like you're saving on costs to get it done. How do you know the relevant experience is going to benefit you? So when someone talks to you and says they have relevant experience, you're going to want to look at the exact numbers that they could express to you. Are they doing it hundreds, or in our case, 24 times a year? Or are they doing it once in a while and they don't have the experience to really vet for your interests? And tying it back to commission, relevant experience means you typically have a higher success rate when it comes to that transaction, removing your tonsils, removing your appendix, or in this case, selling a property for a higher price versus the person that doesn't do it frequently, hasn't had that relevant experience, might charge you less commission, but ultimately has a lower rate of success when it comes to list to sales price ratio or selling it in a timely fashion. Value point number 4, strong vendor relationships. Strong vendor relationships mean 2 things: competitive timing and competitive pricing for the benefit of the seller. Now, as you build strong vendor relationships, you will be able to share this with the seller so that when it comes to listing property and preparing a house for sale, they will benefit from timing in terms of the vendors respect you as a business owner and as a real estate agent, that they want to work with you in volume. And secondly is, if you give them a volume in business, they'll probably give you competitive pricing. So you can offer this to the seller, and when it ties back to the commission, because you're giving something of value when it's saving time, doing the job in a shorter period, and also giving them something that they could save money on in the services that they need to be able to sell for a higher price, that justifies your commission that you charge. Value point number 5. Hopefully you are part of a team. When we say team, you could be a part of a brokerage or you could literally be part of a team. In our sake, we're a part of a team. I started the team. And when you are part of a group of individuals, there's different people performing different duties, which means there's specialization. You definitely don't want your doctor who's performing the surgery on you to also be the one looking at the screen checking your vitals. That's not going to work. You want someone separately looking at the data while you as the doctor are focused on the procedure for a higher success rate. Value point number 6 is your ability to negotiate for a higher price or better terms. As you become more experienced, I'll share some of the things, at least what we do, to negotiate for our sellers for a higher price and better terms. When an offer comes in, and usually in our marketplace we've seen multiple offers, you're going to want to conduct more calls to the buyer's agent and also to the lender to make sure that you're vetting before you present it to your seller. Now, novice agents are going to present all offers without vetting anything. Something could look good on paper, but how do you know what they say on paper is their true offer? What if they are just putting it out there and once they get accepted, they back out and they have buyer's remorse? Now, you don't know the caliber of agent in terms of the buyer's agent on the other end until you have a conversation. And that's what you're going to do as part of your negotiation strategy to learn more about the other parties so you can share that with the seller to make a more educated decision. And value point number 7, making sure that you have strong agent relationships in the marketplace that you serve. Strong agent relationships create reciprocity for different types of needs when it comes to they have a listing, you have a buyer, and in this case, you have a listing, they might have a buyer, and you're encouraging them to work with you because you've built a reputation that you're easy to work with and you're the professional in this area. Now, this could be priceless. No matter how much a seller pays you more or less, it's priceless to be the neighborhood expert, to know everybody from vendors, from agents, and all of those value points combined. It's hard to disregard you or ask you for a commission cut when you can provide all these 7 line items of value. And let's tie it all together. Your main job is to bring the focus not on commission, which is their topic, but on performance and value and what you will do and how that will yield the best end result that the sellers want, not necessarily a line item in terms of commission. Also, this reminds us to ask more questions to uncover the true needs of the consumer and not focusing the conversation on a line item of commission. When you can uncover the reason why a seller is asking you about commission, which is only 5 to 6% of the 100% of how much they would be able to sell for, and ultimately that affects how much they'll net, and you're able to justify the value of how you're going to be able to help them do that, that is more important than focusing the conversation on commission. And that's it for this video. If you found this helpful or you have other topics you want us to cover, comment below and let us know what you think. Also, if you found it helpful, hit that subscribe and also that bell icon so you're notified every week when we release a new video.